2, 1, we're recording. Kenya,
Oh,
thanks so much for this. I enjoy talking to our kids. They'll see this actually in November is when I will push it out to them.
okay, no problem. So I'm Kinya Hilliard. I'm a Cherry Creek grad, and this is my college experience as a pre-med major. So a little background, like I said, I am a graduate of Cherry Creek High School, graduated in class of 2019. I am currently a second year sophomore, a second year at Miami University in Ohio. I am a biology major with a pre-med co-major and a Spanish and medical sociology double minor. And why I chose medicine. My original plan was to work in the law/criminal justice system, and that kind of happened because my mom, she's a probation officer, and I grew up around that type of environment. I wanted to be a homicide detective. I had internships, shadowing opportunities lined up, and I don't know what happened, but I just switched tracks and I said I'm going into medicine. And I think that is because of my grandmother and my aunt. My grandmother works in home health care, and my aunt was a nurse before she passed. And so I always was around them, and that probably had something to do with it. And then in middle school and high school, I got involved in volunteer work, and I had further exposure to the field. And now I'm just set as a bio pre-med major. And so what my freshman year looked like in terms of academics, my first semester, I took general biology, biolab, chem lab, and anthropology. I originally had chemistry, a chem lecture as well, but my teacher was very hard. And I didn't understand what was going on, so I dropped the class and decided to take it second semester, and that's what ended up happening. And then second semester, I took bio 2, biolab, college chemistry, psychology, sociology, Spanish, and kinesiology. And the other courses, the courses like anthropology, Spanish, and sociology, those are kind of, Miami calls them Miami Plan courses. They're kind of just courses that make you more well-rounded as a student. They're basically liberal arts courses and stuff like that. And social life, for my dorm, when you register for your dorm and everything, they put us in what they call LLCs, living learning communities, and you get to pick your top 3, and you can live in a community based off your major, based off of if you're an out-of-state student or in-state, or just other interests, like say you really like movies, there's a movie LLC or something like that. And I ended up with the pre-meds, business majors, undecided, and engineering majors. And our dorms were co-ed. I think all of the dorms are pretty much co-ed, and they don't divide it by floors. They divided, like each floor has girls and guys. So one half is guys and the other half is girls. And that's the same with each floor and each dorm. And in terms of nightlife and the weekends, for Miami, Ohio, there's this place called Uptown. And up there, it's just a short walk up campus. For me, from my dorm, it was just straight up High Street. And they have the bars up there. They have food to eat. They have different types of restaurants. They have lounge areas, ice cream. There's just a bunch of stuff to do all the time up in Uptown. There's always something going on. And then also, especially towards the beginning of the semester, the university hosts a bunch of events. There's a thing called Mega Fair. You get to go to, I think, one of the big baseball fields or something, and you walk around, see a bunch of the clubs have little booths open and stuff, and it's a two-day event, I think, and you just go around and look at all the clubs and stuff like that. I also did homework over the weekends, and most of my classes, especially my sciences, had group study sessions. They called SI sessions, and they were hosted by students who took the class with that professor, and they just helped us if we had any questions regarding homework or an upcoming exam. And my friends, a majority of them are from Ohio, and they know a bunch of people from nearby cities like in Cincinnati or Dayton. So every now and then we'd drive to Cincinnati or Dayton and go visit some friends over there, or even Indiana University, considering our school is right on the border of Ohio and Indiana. We're not that far of a drive. So that's also what we did. And how COVID affected my second semester last year. First semester, my freshman year, I only had one online class. I absolutely hated it. And then I switched to no online classes to having 8 online classes, and it was hard. I also went in for tutoring for chemistry, and then there was no tutoring for chemistry, and then there was no group study sessions. And when they announced that we'd be leaving home, they said to leave kind of on your own time, just as long as you get out before spring break, I believe. And then a day or two later, they said you needed to leave as soon as possible, like you needed to leave that day. And if you lived in Ohio or a quick drive, you could come back later and get your things, and they would tell you when you could come back. A couple of my friends actually ended up doing that, and they left all of their things in the dorm. And I don't think the university sent them an email telling them to come back and get their stuff until midsummer, June, July-ish. So they didn't have a bunch of their stuff for a couple months. And for me, I personally struggled a lot with the time difference. Ohio is Eastern time. So when I flew back home in Colorado, all of my classes were 2 hours ahead. My earliest class was 10:05. And if I had to be on a Zoom call for that class in Colorado, I had to be awake at 8:05. And so, and deadlines, due dates, everything's due at 11:59. But for me, it was due at 9:59. So I struggled with that a little bit. And how my school is currently handling the COVID situation, our original plan was to return in August, a week early, and that would mean we'd have no fall break. And when we left for Thanksgiving break, we would stay home and just take our finals online. And that's still the case. We're still planning on leaving, I think, November 20th and not returning in between that time between Thanksgiving break and our winter break, which we call J term because it's, I think, 6 weeks normally. And what actually ended up happening, I believe a week before I was supposed to fly out, our school sent out an email saying that we were not allowed to return on campus at the original scheduled time. They were delaying our return to campus for approximately 4 weeks. They didn't give us a date that we'd be moving in. They just said sometime in September we can come back, and they will let us know when. And then they opened up off-campus housing to sophomores, and they allowed us to opt out of our housing contracts and our meal plan contracts. So a bunch of my friends actually ended up doing that. A few weeks ago, they kept delaying when they would tell us if and when we can move back to campus. They let us know, I believe, Wednesday, September 9th. I think they sent out that email, and they said that we could come back, I think, for in-person classes September 21st, or you could delay your move-in 2 weeks until October 1st, I believe. I decided to come back as soon as possible. Me and my mom ended up flying out 2 days after we received that email. So I had to pack everything I had within 2 days, which was a little bit of a struggle. And they said a majority of your courses will still be online, mainly just labs for the nursing majors and some of the pre-med majors and stuff like that. A bunch of my classes said that we would be returning in person, but once I actually flew out, my teacher said that they were gonna keep classes online. So at the moment, I currently have one hybrid class, which is in person every now and then, but mostly online. So coursework right now, I'm taking a biology course, Spanish, statistics, sociology, and kinesiology. And my kinesiology is a sprint course, which means it's not for the full semester. It's for like the last 6 or the last 8 weeks of the semester. So that's what that class is. And right now, nightlife and weekends looks a lot different now with COVID. So for the most part, I just hang out with my roommates. My roommates are friends that I made in my dorm last year. So we all live together, and some of our friends live next door to us in the building next door. So every now and then we go over and visit them. And the rest of our friends pretty much live off campus, either in a fraternity house, sorority house, or they ended up getting an apartment or a house with each other. So we just kind of go to each other's houses every now and then. What am I studying for? Currently, I'm in college and aiming to be a surgical pediatric orthopedic physician assistant. The educational path for this career is pretty simple. You just get a bachelor degree in any major. You just really need to fulfill the prerequisites for the college, PA program that you're interested in. And then you attend PA school. And for the most part, the ones that I have seen last about 2 to 3 years, and it really just depends on which school and what their program looks like. And one reason why I chose a PA path instead of going to med school was the ability to switch fields. So like if you go to be a physician assistant and you're originally working in orthopedics, for example, you can easily switch to cardiology, and that doesn't require you to go back to med school or anything like that. There's a lot less debt associated with PA school, and it's just a better work-life balance, in my opinion, and that's what I've noticed with the PAs that I've met at Miami and also at home. So what did I do in high school? I was on the lacrosse team at Cherry Creek for 3 years, and I also played club. I have been a volunteer at Children's Hospital since I think 2017, 2016. And my senior year, I was an intern at Swedish Medical Center. I went pretty much every day my first semester and still during my second semester. And AP courses, junior, senior year, I highly recommend them. They really do pay off. I definitely, while I was in them, I thought this was the worst thing ever. Why did I do this to myself? But once I started registering for courses in college, it really paid off. I came into college with about 25 credits already because I took AP courses. And when I say it really pays off, it does. A lot of my friends had to take basic English classes, which I did not have to take because I took AP English Lang or Lit and stuff like that. And math, if you can take an AP math class at Creek or any school in high school, do it, because math in college is a lot harder than it is in high school, because you don't have that day-to-day interaction with your teachers and stuff like that. You can't really, it's harder to get help, and the material is pretty much the same, but it's taught in different ways. And that's kind of what happened with my chemistry class. I really enjoyed it in high school. I understood it, and it was the same material when I got to college, but the professor was just super hard and he taught it in a very difficult way. So I had to just drop the class and take it with another professor. And these are just a few photos I added of just me and my friends. And this middle, I don't know if you can see it, but this middle picture right here, this is my friend. Her name is Brooke. We've been friends since kindergarten. And without her, I probably would not be at Miami in February, my senior year. She texted me, we hadn't seen each other in a while, and she said, "Hey, did you apply to Miami?" I told her no. And she said, "Well, I haven't seen you in a while, but I got accepted and they're having a whole Make It Miami visit. Do you want to come out with me?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" I came out, absolutely loved it, got a tour of their whole biology science building and stuff like that. And I applied as soon as I got back home, and here I am. And these girls, this is Lauren and this is Jasani. They're two out of the other roommate is not in this picture, but the other roommate's name is Haley, but we all live together. And then these are just my other friends that I hung out with during my freshman year. And that's it.
Fantastic job. So what we'll do is, as I said, the kids will type in a question, and I can send those to you, and then at your convenience, respond to them, and I'll post those for the kids to watch. But so let me ask you this, and this, we're still recording. I remember when you took the med class with me, you and I had a long conversation about PA versus MD.
Yes.
Did that inspire you was that part of your equation towards thinking about becoming PA, or was that?
Yes, it definitely was. I was leaning more, I didn't know about the PA position really until I took that class, and until I got exposure to other jobs that are in the medical field. You can do practically the same thing with less debt, with more freedom and flexibility and still get like what you want and still be in that field, still be involved and stuff like that. And so that was very great to have. And I'm grateful that I took that class my junior year because I was very confused. And I feel like for the most part, anybody thinking about going into the medical field, all they know is that you go to college and then you have medical school and then you have a fellowship and then you have a residency and an internship and stuff. And I feel like that's the only thing that's really advertised really for going into the medical field, and nobody really knows about PAs or NPs, nurse practitioners, and stuff like that. There's other ways to be involved in the medical field.
So basically, you will be practicing medicine by the time you're about 25.
Yeah, and it takes a lot shorter amount of time to get
Absolutely
into the field and stuff like that.
Well, I thank you so very much for this presentation, and as I said before we started recording, I want you to come back to Colorado and be a PA here, and
hopefully that's the plan.
oh, that'd be great, and I know your mom would enjoy that as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, but the Zoom call will stay on. Okay.
Okay.